Hey guys, I'm Chris.
Hey everybody, I'm Robert.
And we're the Film Flamers.
And it's hard to recover from a laugh, mid-laugh, when Chris introduces himself. But I think I did nicely.
I think you did too.
Let us know at Tired Queens. Just kidding.
Moving on. It's the month of fucking love.
That's right. Fucking love and fuck love, really.
Really. And this is the month where we like to talk about movies that might have some adjacency to romance.
Maybe.
We were going to talk about The Fly and Jeff Goldblum's Being Very Afraid with Geena Davis.
Which has a lot of adjacency with romance.
It does. And unfortunately, some sad news that we'll get into later has changed our plans.
And then as we get into much later toward the end of this episode, we shall tell you what our new February plans are.
Or you can just check the show notes and spoil it yourself.
That's right. You can do all those things, but you're already listening. Just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait. Don't spoil it, listeners. But, spoiler alert, we have a lot of comments to read for you and a review. And we haven't had a review in a little bitty bit.
That's right. And that review is Displaced Texan from Apple. And he says, not the biggest horror fan, but Chris and Robert are an entertaining pair that draw in even the most casual horror fan.
Oh, well, I would rather you be a casual fan of horror and a big fan of the Film Flamers, which it seems like you are.
It's selfish, but it's true.
It is. We're selfish people in the month of love. We only want things for ourselves. Thank you, Displaced Texan, for breaking our review drought over on Apple Podcasts and iTunes.
That's right. You're the first review of the year.
That's right. We're now inching ever closer to, what is it required now? 200 reviews to go on Rotten
It's Tomatoes? A moving target. I just care less and less about it now.
I feel like they're moving it once we get there.
They will again. And so the moving target is now Letterboxd, I think. I feel like Rotten Tomatoes in 5 years is not going to be a thing, maybe, as much.
Probably not. Not for, like, personal reviews.
Power to the people.
That's
and
right.
The audience score isn't cutting it.
It's not. They even changed the name. It's not even called an audience score anymore.
Oh, my God.
It's called the Popcorn Meter. Anyway, thank you, Displaced Texan. You made us segue right into Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But thank you very much. And we do have a lot of comments, like I said. And the first one is coming from our Up in Flames episode where we put 2024 to bed. And GlazedDonut over on Patreon said, I love that the top 2 films of the year are directed by female directors that don't have that much experience with directing movies. The last few years have produced a good amount of female horror directors, and I hope that continues to increase. The substance is original while also being reminiscent of Death Becomes Her, which makes it perfection for me. I cannot wait to get to some other films on this list.
But not the perfection?
No, not the perfection.
Which also might have been a female director.
Sure. Yes. Well, it wasn't this year, right?
No, that was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, many, many years ago. Also a female director, though, yeah. I liked that movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
Yeah, although, I don't know. I feel like the one that directed Revenge, I don't know her whole filmography.
She has 2 big movies.
I don't know what else she's done other than that. I don't know. I'm hearing that it's getting harder and harder and harder every year, especially since like 2015, just to get anything greenlit, and that's certainly after 2020. So anything original, which is what these gals like to do, is given a higher level of scrutiny. So the fact that they even got these films made, now one of them is a little bit cheating because it's part of a franchise, and so it's like your shoe in. If you want to be a director, a mainstream director, get other things greenlit, you've got to put in your bits as a mainstream franchise director, I guess.
You do, but Miss Caroline, directress of The Substance, is doing original work. Like she wrote that movie, she directed that movie, and I applaud that. But also, I think it's very independent.
Yeah.
So
from our deep dive into the Aumann, Canadian Matt over on Patreon said, "Let me start by saying this episode was fantastic, and Chris and Robert, as always, were absolutely phenomenal. But did I really just hear Chris casually claim that the late, great Christopher Plummer was British? Pardon me while I calmly rise from my chair and gently tip over the nearest, cheapest table in utter disbelief." Is that what Canadians do instead of flipping tables?
They're so polite about it.
All right. That might have been a bit dramatic. I've since apologized to the table. I barely nudged it, I swear, and taken a moment to collect myself. But just a moment. Now, just for the record, Christopher Plummer was proudly Canadian. He was born in Toronto, Ontario, and wait for it, was the great-grandson of John Abbott, Canadian's third prime minister and the first Canadian-born prime minister. You Americans want to tariff and annex Canada, but taking away Christopher Plummer, that's the final straw. Keep up the amazing work, you two. I'm just having some fun here. This podcast actually convinced me to part with some of my hard-earned money every month because I started feeling guilty about enjoying such great content for free.
Oh, thank you, Canadian Matt.
Yes, Canadian Matt. And I'm so sorry, Canadian Matt, for not saying Canadian Christopher Plummer, because I'm a fan of Christopher Plummer and I should have known that because he was in Star Trek 6 with William Shatner, who was also famously Canadian.
That's
and
right.
They may have been on stage together. That might be part of why they were in Star Trek 6 together. Anyway, yes. And of course, I have enjoyed Christopher Plummer ever since Sound of Music and which he called lovingly Sound of Mucus, by the way. Fun fact. And he's also in Knives Out.
Yep.
And just shit tons of other movies.
Lots of other movies.
Yeah. And so I should have known that. And I don't know why I don't know why that slipped. Why did I think it was British?
I feel like we've covered other movies with Christopher Plummer in it too. I don't know.
I'm so sorry.
I do have to point out that we do not want to tariff Canada.
No.
Okay. We
didn't take him for American. We gave him to Brits. So it doesn't count.
That's right. So also, I'm kind of flabbergasted that Christopher Plummer was the great-grandson, just the great-grandson, not great-great or great-great-great, of the third Prime Minister of Canada. Like, either Christopher Plummer is really, really old, or I just keep forgetting how young Canada is, right? So as a sovereign nation, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, apologies.
And that table is in Splinter.
All my tables are cheap, so I can really just pick one to toss. It doesn't matter. Oh. Bennett over on Patreon said, okay, maybe I'm behind the times, but what's up with all the bath salts references in this episode?
Okay, that's me. And I thought it would be universal. I guess it's part of pop culture, but it's really in the news in the mid-aughts, I think.
Yeah.
Like there was a rash of people using this drug called bath salts in Florida. And turned one guy into like a naked cannibal that was like going to the streets in Miami and like killing people.
He like ate some guy's face.
Yeah. And then it was like the bath salt killings and there was like a rash of them. So yeah, it's not like actual bath salts like that you would put in your bath, right? The drug is called bath salts.
Right.
So that's why I said it. I thought everyone knew.
I knew what you're talking about.
And then he replied and said, never heard of it, but not surprised. Because, Florida.
I mean.
Here.
Yes.
As Melania says, be best.
Florida. I also think that we were making jokes about bath salts before we started recording. And sometimes
they trickle in.
Yeah. Our conversations sort of like trickle into our recording conversations. And so it just, makes you a little privy to what we talk about off mic. Bath salts.
From our deep dive into the first Aumann, not the original Aumann, the first Aumann. It's the gift that keeps on giving. BattleBurrito over on Patreon said, I do enjoy listening to Chris fangirl out about an up-and-coming new director. Here.
And you did.
I enjoy listening to me gush too.
I also. That's why I continue to do this podcast with you.
Oh.
Because I also like to gush. GlazedDonut over on Patreon said, for our first film, Arkasha Stevenson did quite well for herself. I look forward to seeing what she does with a film that is not limited by a previous IP. She doesn't qualify for the hottest guy, but I nominate Luz Maria Caballero for the hottest nun that has graced my screen.
Right?
Yeah, she was hot. Even though that Italian curly-haired choir boy look she was sporting at the end, she was still quite arresting. This film actually made me excited to watch the first or second Aumann film again. Also, concerning twin movies, I saw both The Matrix and Dark City in theaters, and while The Matrix was sold out, Dark City had about 5 people in the theater. Dark City was made and released first and has more horror elements than The Matrix. So if you can get a chance to watch it, please do so. It's actually a good sci-fi film.
I keep hearing that.
I have not seen it.
I've tried to watch it and I got bored and turned it off, but that was 20 something years ago, back when I had a much shorter attention span, probably.
I have seen The Matrix though.
Yes. And I don't know that we'll ever cover it because I don't think it's horror adjacent enough. There are moments, I guess.
Yeah.
But moments, only moments.
But Dark City, maybe.
Mayhaps.
Mayhaps be. We'll have to watch it.
Karl over on Patreon said, I also didn't see it in theaters because I figured it'd be a shitty revamp, but then started to hear about how good it was, and I loved it. It's a beautiful movie. It's not perfect, but it really impressed me. I'm looking forward to seeing what this director will do next. Amazing imagery in this movie, and I love the nods to the great 70s movies. Really wish I saw it in the theater. I also never took it literally in the Aumann that his mother was a jackal. I always figured the jackal in the tomb was placed there by the satanic cult, mainly because the idea of him being born to a jackal always struck me as idiotic. Yeah, I can see that.
Well, it turns out it's his father.
Bro. Thank you, Karl.
Yes, thank you, Karl. I do also love the nods to great 70s movies. There's a really 70s.
I love that we were able to put that 70s trailer in there, the one they did. It just goes really, really well with the original Aumann trailer.
That's right. They're very similar, like listening back to those episodes, I was like, this is amazing. And I really like when directors can have that kind of like aesthetic or sensibility that comes from an entire like decade of film. Mm-hmm. So we just talked about that when we were talking about Ty West and Maxine. And I just think it's really cool. Andrew over on Spotify said, wait just a goddamn second. What happened to the new frog-voiced hunky host? I, for one, thought he was quite sexy. Unsubscribed.
But the unsubscribed is in all caps. Unsubscribed.
I will stand by that people who are ill just sound more attractive. You know what I mean? Because normally, y'all, I sound like this on a podcast. But if you go back to like season 1, I am truly fucking snotty. And I listened back to that and I was like, oh, I sound kind of hot.
There's a couple times like once a year or so, like right around December, where you sound like, I don't know, a little too mucusy.
Yeah.
But I totally sounded like someone actually was like, thank God that's over because you sounded like RF Kennedy or whatever the fuck. And I'm like, oh, Jesus.
But I was talking to somebody. Oh, it was today because I talked a lot at work today. And I was like, and I still have to go record tonight. So it's more talking. And they're like, what's okay if you lose your voice? Like Chris lost his 2 weeks ago or something like that. I was like, my God, even my coworkers listen to our podcast. We've made it.
From our deep dive into The Mist, Ryan over on Patreon said, I just watched this film for the first time this weekend and also, to echo others, really enjoyed it. It was crazy to see so many of the Walking Dead actors all working together on this film. Jeffrey McDunn, Dale, Laurie Holden, Andrea, Melissa McBride, Carol, and Frank Darabont producing on Walking Dead as well. And makes me wonder if he brought a lot of the cast over from The Mist to The Walking Dead. Just like how you mentioned, he brought the entire filming crew over to get the same shots he wanted. Also agree, the monsters in this do still hold up to an extent. I would be interested in seeing the black and white version. Anyone know if it's streaming anywhere or is it just a DVD purchase? I think it's DVD and Blu-ray. I think every copy of this comes with it.
Maybe. I have like the original Blu-ray that came out, so I know it wasn't included in that, but like future releases.
Oh, yeah. So I know there was a special one and I waited out for that, I think.
Mm-hmm. You may be able to purchase just the black and white version on Amazon. If you
I would assume you cannot stream this.
No, not for free, probably.
I would have to search.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I still want to watch that black and white version.
But I know it's fairly easy to get it.
Yes.
It's an Amazon purchase away.
That's right, Ryan. You can do it. And yeah, I feel like Frank Darabont started making The Walking Dead not too long after The Mist was released. So these actors probably just were brought by him, and
I wonder if Criterion's going to do it eventually because that seems kind of up their alley.
Probably.
Yeah. And I wonder if they'll do the black and white version.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Criterion would be all over some of Frank Darabont's work.
Oh, yeah.
All his Stephen King.
They probably already are in some regards. I don't know. Criterion is coming out with like 800 movies a year now. It used to be like one a month.
Yeah, they're a brand now. They're a brand to be reckoned with.
Yes, they're like half of every Barnes & Noble now.
They're completely Barnes & Noble. It's the entire music section. Because nobody buys physical music anymore. Anywho, from our Shooting the Flames episode last month in January, Gia over on Patreon said, I watched all the trailers you listed and the one for 28 Years Later actually made me tear up a bit. Same. That poem reading was incredible. I did a mini dive on it and found that it's a 1915 recording of an actor, Taylor Holmes, doing the reading. the U.S. military uses the recording to simulate the psychological distress of captivity, and the SERE program plays the recording repeatedly to prepare trainees for hostile environments.
Yikes.
That is frightening to think of.
Yeah.
But yeah, that poem reading to me is just amazing, and I love that trailer.
Super amazing use of it. One of the best trailers I've ever seen.
Agreed.
Josh over on Spotify said, life is a wet Grinch salad right now, but at least I have a list of horror movies from 2024 that I missed from this episode. Well, hopefully you've seen our best of 2024 top 10, and other recommendations.
Mm-hmm. So if you need a handy guide
or just a handy,
Josh, go check out our socials, because you will find an infographic of our 10 so you can watch them all.
That's right.
Ryan King over on Patreon said, I couldn't agree more with not enjoying the face hugger paddock scene from Romulus. That was a little dumb. And also the whole get off her, you bitch line. I would have loved if he would just said, get off her, and let the audience do the rest.
You bitch. Yeah, that would have been genius. Also, Chris, your crackly voice sounded so much like Robert F. Kennedy had me dying. Okay, that was the comment then.
Yep. RFK.
Yeah, damn it.
Does it make you feel good inside?
From our deep dive into A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors, Dennis Gordon over on YouTube said, great listen. You guys know your shit.
Thank you.
He technically said know your stuff, but
But shit's better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course we do, because that movie is one of my favorites of all time.
Mm-hmm.
From our hot take on Haunting of Hill House. Wow, that's an old one. The Blast from the Past. This is the Netflix series. Richard over on Patreon said, I fucking loved The Haunting of Hill House. Episode 6 was also my favorite. So powerful.
I need to go back and watch that. I love the one shot. The oneer.
I have only gone back to watch that one particular episode.
Yeah, it's so good.
It is really good.
Mm-hmm. I just had a thought, like maybe our podcast will get so old that we have like top 10 top 10s. Top 10 Film Flamer top 10s.
We probably, I wouldn't put it past us. We can do that. Yeah, right. We don't have any questions per se, and we don't have any voicemails either.
Yeah, the review made up for it.
Yeah, that's right. So, but stay tuned for the end of this episode. We'll tell you how to leave us a voicemail.
Yeah, our listeners were much more opinionated. They had no questions, only statements.
That's right. And that's fine. That's what I appreciate from y'all.
We also have a new patron.
We do?
Yes. That is Nimble Wimbley. Wait, Nimble Wimbley? Nimble Wimbley.
Nimble Wimbley. Nimbly.
Yes,
Wimbley.
at the Film Inferno level.
Oh, that's like the top honor.
Yeah, we're back up to 3.
Ooh.
Welcome to the team, Nimble Wimbley.
We are glad to have you. Welcome aboard. Don't forget that with your film, and this goes for all of you guys at the Film Inferno level, because I don't think any of you have said, we have to give you guys some sort of custom recording for your personal use.
Yeah.
Correct. So let us know what you want, y'all.
Yeah, that sounded dirty.
I don't know. Wait for Chris to have his like husky RFK voice, and maybe it could.
Well, it could also be. Yeah, I mean, we could do it live. We could do it. If you want us to like say something or like have a specific conversation or something like that. But yeah, I guess if you want to have something private, we could.
We could record your outgoing greeting for your voicemail if you want.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. But let's shout out the patrons at the Film Flamer tier or higher.
Okay. At the Inferno level, we have Call Me Lestat,
Nimble Wimbley,
and Penelope.
And Flamers include Alex,
Ashley,
Ben,
CenobiteBetty,
GlazedDonut,
Jessica,
Lisa,
Nikki,
Random Dude,
Rosie Red Leader,
Sinistera,
Wallstritch,
and William Skinner.
Principal William Skinner.
All right, people. We miss a lot of voices like Ashley, where are you?
That's right.
Nikki, Lisa.
Just like
Dude.
2 months ago, Ashley gave us quite a long comment that made us cry a little bit.
I know.
Yeah. But hey, we want to hear from you guys. We know life is busy, but let us know how you're doing. Okay?
I can hear the rain through your microphone.
I can,
It's
same. I can hear it through these headphones that we have on our head right now. So
we're going to blow away.
There may be some thunder, guys. It's mood.
It is in this creepy attic that we recorded.
horror news.
We have got to talk about the Oscars.
We do have to talk about the Oscars because I feel just on several episodes last month, we were anticipating a slew of Oscar nominations, but it's the Oscars, guys. And
we always grab our ankles in the end.
That's right. And so I was just waiting for Oscar nomination day like I always do. And it finally rolled around because they had to postpone it so much because of natural disasters, and rightfully so. And but the Oscars did not disappoint this year. 10 total nominations for horror films.
That is unheard of. There's been nothing like that, I think, since like the mid 70s.
Yeah.
And even then, I don't even know what that was.
It wasn't 10. I mean, I feel like The Exorcist got a good handful of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was a lot that year. But this is 10 nominations across 3 movies.
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu got 2.
The Substance.
The Substance got many.
Like 5.
5 to 7. I can't remember all.
Yeah,
right
and Nosferatu was mainly like technicals, I think, like makeup and costume and.
They got costume and production design.
Yeah,
and then Alien Romulus got a special effects nod.
Oh sure, yeah. Well, it has to win because I think we were watching like a Corridor Crew video.
Yeah,
and like the stuff they did with the rings, like even they didn't even know quite how they did it. And they were just like, this is genius. Like, this is some of the best space stuff that we've seen.
I really hope so. And I'm hoping really that horror cleans up at the Oscars. And there have been lots of articles published right around this time, last week and the week before about the Oscars finally showing some attention to horror movies and what that means for mainstream horror, right? There seems to be a lot more attention being paid to it, and people are not treating it like some throwaway genre, right? And that's good. The Substance alone nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Screenplay, Best Actress, and those are top tier awards. And in my opinion, it could have gotten even more than that, but I'm not going to be greedy about it.
I don't know. I think we should, right? Because I feel like some of this is political. It's almost like Demi Moore, underdog. She's never won any awards. It's her time, And it's that's a story that we've seen it before, like Kim Basinger, and we've seen it a couple of other times. We saw it certainly with Michelle Yeoh.
Yep.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it's it's not undeserved, but I also kind of would have liked to see Margaret Qualley.
Agreed.
In there. She did an amazing job. Or, the chick from Smile 2.
Yes, I agree. Naomi Scott.
And right? I would have loved to see Hugh Grant nominated.
I also would. I feel like these categories though are kind of jam packed, and
the genre just gets fucked anyway. So it's not even the only problem. My number one gripe this year actually with the Oscars is my number 2 gripe is really Denis Villeneuve for lack of director nom for Dune 2, right? And then also this one really grinds my gears is Hans Zimmer. They said that he was ineligible because it was too for the first movie. And I'm like, Wicked's nominated for best fucking score.
Mm-hmm.
How fucking dare you? And what? Many people on this podcast are going to love Wicked, obviously. Right. And I don't have a problem with Wicked. I'm just saying if Wicked's in there, why can't Hans Zimmer?
I agree, because I saw that he was out of contention, and I was just but for what though? Really?
It's the genres get shit on, right? Yeah. And horror did well this year, but it's just it's never where it should be. And it's yes, let's take this, but then let's go forward.
I agree, because as we talked about in our Up in Flames episode,
I don't want scraps, God damn it,
just a couple weeks ago, is that there's a lot of really awesome looking horror movies coming out soon, and a lot of them look like well-made, well-directed, well-acted kind of movies. And the thing is that people don't vote for them at the Academy because a lot of people in the Academy don't go see these movies, right?
Yeah.
They don't know, but as the Academy is filling itself with younger, hipper kind of voters and members who will pay attention to genre work, I think that we will see more, There'll always be the travesties that did not get nominated in the past. Toni Collette.
Yes, that's our number 1.
Yeah. And so but I will take this win and just hope that in years future that we will have even more nominations for horror films and other genre films. And Villeneuve will get his due, I think, when his
God, wouldn't it be amazing if Demi Moore stepped up there and Toni Collette, this is for you.
Oh my God.
I would weep.
I would too, but she's not going to do that.
No, it's far too selfish.
But she should do that. We don't know her. She might be The least selfish person on earth.
I just want the person that announces the award to be Dennis Quaid while he eats shrimp.
Gross. I'll turn it off. I'm looking forward to the Oscars this year, though, because they're finally catching up with the times and they're just streaming it on Hulu. I'm like, thank you, Jesus. I don't have to jump through hoops to try to watch the Oscars. There is one more piece of news, though, and this is the sad one, guys. David Lynch, legendary director of some of the most fucked up weird movies you'll ever watch in your life, has passed.
That's correct. Beloved David Lynch, who used to give us the weather. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. People would follow him on social media and he would like send out a little vlog and he would tell them what the weather was, where he was. And it was just,
aw.
yeah. And people are talking about him like he was just like the sweetest guy. Like Naomi Watts is telling stories, like everyone's being interviewed right now. And it's coming out that he's just like an amazing guy, right? And so it's like, that's what we were mentioning earlier at the top of the episode, right? Mm-hmm. Which is we are segueing from The Fly, and God help us, Jeff Goldblum's probably going to get struck by lightning this month. But we are going to segue into David Lynch movies, right? So we are going to give you deep dives on Blue Velvet
and Mulholland Drive.
And then we're on the Patreon. We're going to be giving you a poll for the 5s and 6s of other David Lynch movies.
He has a really huge filmography, but almost all of them are like short films.
Yes. Yeah. And then also seasons of TV.
That's correct. So Twin Peaks, the series, will not be on that poll, but perhaps Fire Walk with Me will.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, look forward to that, guys. I know we are really looking forward to talking about David Lynch and trying to dissect it a little bit. And I'm super interested to see what everyone votes for on that poll.
And I was super happy that it was February because a lot of his movies kind of factor in there.
Yeah, he has a lot of films that have to do with like kind of
horror, thriller, noir, romance.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And like these weird off-kilter kind of relationship movies. And it just works. It works in his films. And so like it's gonna be a lot to talk about and a way to pay respect to a director that many, many people who love film love.
Coming soon.
Crossover trailers.
The microphone picks me up and I can hear myself.
These trailers may go against everything you believe in as a woman and a Christian, Robert.
A few of them certainly do.
Which one?
We'll get into that. A woman and a Christian. Listeners, we have roughly 1,003 trailers to talk about today.
The Monkey. The full Red Band trailer actually came out. Obviously, just a reminder, this is by Osgood Perkins and produced by James Wan in theaters February 21st of this month.
And based on a short story by Stephen King.
Yeah, I think this is actually our second week release this month because I think we're coming out with our hot take for Companion the first week in February.
Correct.
So The Monkey will be coming out shortly after this release.
That's right. And Hard Eyes right before that. So
Hard Eyes.
What a crazy month for horror movies. And speaking of crazy, that's what The Monkey completely looks. It looks bonkers and fun.
It does.
And I'm here for it.
Yeah, I was like, can Osgood Perkins make a funny movie? But then I saw James Wan. So yeah.
Yeah. This movie looks violent as fuck. It looks irreverent. And it looks an awful lot like parts of that short story. So yeah. I'm here for this movie. I'm definitely going to go see this in the theater.
Same.
And yeah,
any of these like that are like adjacent horror comedy, I want to see in the theater.
For real. I mean, because that's when I have the most fun with a horror movie.
Yep.
You know,
because that's when I don't mind when people are like shouting out loud and stuff like that.
That's right. Because I mean, I'm likely to do it too, or like guffaw with laughter. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, The Monkey looks great, and I can't wait. Next up is an A24 film that's coming out March the 14th. It's called Opus, and it stars Ayo Edebiri and John Malkovich, who's looking a little old, and Juliette Lewis and Amber Midthunder. Oh my goodness gracious.
I know.
Wow.
Stacked.
Completely.
And this looks like a lot of fun. So it kind of reminds me of The Menu, but like a music version of The Menu. Like The Venue. I don't know.
Watching the trailer though, I mean, it's kind of like hard to pinpoint like where this movie's going, and that's good. You know, that's what a trailer is supposed to do.
Yeah. So it's like she won tickets to a retired rock star or whatever. He's going to do a live performance for like best closest friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she won it not as a fan necessarily, but as a journalist at a magazine. And there's lots of different types of people there, lots of different journalists. And then I think superfans are there as well, maybe.
Yeah.
Like part of some sort of cult.
Yeah.
And so John Malkovich is being John Malkovich, and Juliette Lewis is being a natural born Juliette Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it looks odd, it looks fun, it looks different, right?
Yep.
Which are all the things that one would consider an A24
I'm saying
movie.
it might be this year's The Menu.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed The Menu. So I'm all about this one. And I've seen this on some people's like most anticipated horror movie lists.
Oh, wow.
And we didn't include it in ours and Up in Flames, but I had completely forgot that it was coming out until we watched the trailer tonight.
Maybe the last new movie we see before we're going to Overlook.
That's right. It is right around that time.
It's true.
But speaking of Overlook, we are getting into some trailers that are coming out in April. There's quite a few. And this one is called Drop. It's coming from Blumhouse, directed by Christopher Landon of Happy Death Day and Freaky fame. And from the writer of Paranormal Activities and Hard Eyes.
And he also directed We Have a Ghost. And he is one of our most important gay directors.
He is.
And that's it. That's all I know about him.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good guy. I follow him on social media.
This looks interesting, though. It looks, it's like that high concept, like trap type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's Blumhouse has kind of been churning out.
Yeah.
Or that kind of thing has been churning out in the industry, not just Blumhouse. I don't want to throw them under the bus.
Yeah, I think everything is kind of gimmicky, because they know that gimmicky horror movies will draw on a crowd.
Yeah, I also really enjoyed this trailer, but I also kind of feel like I've watched the movie.
Yeah, it does.
Because there's scenes outside of that restaurant, like a car escape, and then like, so that she's eventually gets on the other side of that restaurant, and then makes her way. Anyway, the story. Sorry, guys. This Drop. So it's actually about, I think it's kind of a double entendre maybe, because it's about drops that you get on your phone, right?
Like
from other people, like an airdrop. Like all the wacky stories of people airdropping people weird shit on airplanes and shit. But this is at a restaurant, like a really nice date in a high rise, right? And so there's also like a window breaking sequence in the trailer where she may or may not be falling out of a window. That's also a pretty high drop. And there's where that double entendre comes in. But they also kind of show some things where it's like she's getting drops really from someone in the restaurant, someone close by, and they have her kid like at home. And like, if you tell your date about this, we're going to kill your son. And eventually it comes out that she has to kill her date, right? In a certain way. And she can't tell anyone. If she makes a mistake or breaks the rules, people die. And this was like waiters like foaming at the mouth and people dying. And eventually it shows like shit hits the fan. She's falling out that window and there's like a car wrecks and people being thrown against the walls in a residential home. So it's like, I feel like I've seen the whole fucking movie.
Yep. Boopity boppity boop.
Yep.
The whole movie.
Yep. But I think I will definitely be watching it though, because it looks like fun.
It does look like fun. Would you say that they want her date to drop dead? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It does look like a lot of fun, in a way that Christopher Landon does, right? Like Freaky to me was a really fun movie.
You really liked that on your first watch.
I did. And it made me laugh. It made me excited. And I am interested to see this and really anything that he does. So
yeah. I've never seen We Have a Ghost, although we covered the trailer for it when it came out.
Yeah, we haven't seen it yet.
And then Happy Death Day I never saw. That was a huge blind spot on my resume for the last 10 years, I think. When did that come out?
Oh, more than 10 years ago, I think.
Oh, really? Is that what Farther Look?
I have not seen it either, or its sequel, but like almost literally every person that I know, except for you, has seen it. And they keep saying that you should watch it. It's really, really good. I know I would like it. I don't know what's stopping me.
I think I keep like mixing it up with like Lights Out, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe we should just sit down and watch both movies one day.
Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You.
Yeah, I've heard that they're good.
Yes.
So,
well, let's do it then.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Hell of a Summer. And this is actually co-directed by Finn Wolfhard of Stranger Things and It fame.
Is he old enough to direct? Don't you have to be a certain age?
I don't know. How old is he now? He was like a kid when we started. So he's probably like 40 now.
Probably.
He's probably 18. I don't know. He's young, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be like 18, 20 at the oldest. But this is in theaters also April 18th. So like if you go to the theaters in mid-April, this is going to be like horrors are going to be like 3 or 4 movies in there at least.
That's right.
Yeah. So this looks really, really fun. It is about a summer camp and a bunch of counselors are being naughty and then turns into a classic slasher, right? Full of shenanigans and wacky hijinks. And it looks like a horror comedy. We've seen this movie 50 times before, but every time we want to go see it and every time it's good. God damn it.
That's right. I mean, you're correct. I mean, like I love it when they take this particular like subgenre of horror film, like a slasher movie where we know all the tropes.
It's just like carrying forward the same movie into the next like micro generation. Yeah. And it's just fun to see every single iteration of it.
Exactly. And like when they do comedy versions of them and they get kind of like meta and like tongue in cheek and kind of on the nose or whatever, like it's just fun.
What was the last big one for the micro generation that we liked that went back in time? And she got to meet her mother.
Oh, Final Girls.
Final Girls, yeah.
Yeah, I really, really love that movie. Actually.
Yeah, that one actually made you shed a tear, I think.
Many tears. I love that movie a lot. And this one, like the trailer made me fucking laugh, you know? So I was just like, sign me up, actually. I can't wait to see this.
Yes, ma'am.
Next up is the second trailer from a movie that we talked about several Shooting the Flames ago, and that's Sinners. From director Ryan Coogler, starring Michael B. Jordan.
Also in theaters, April 18th.
My God, it's a big day. This movie...
It's been a day at the goddamn theater, April 18th.
We're going to have to. This movie looks like a really cool, like gothic kind of horror movie, just set in a different time period. Although I read a headline today about it, and it said what the monsters are. So, I know. I was kind of hoping to not know.
I did not. I do not. I still don't know that. Did you see the Lilius trailer for this? Was that playing before?
It was playing right before we walked out of Companion.
I walked out of Companion. Yeah,
that's right.
We walked out of. We went to a blind showing.
That's right.
And it was the showing that we had already seen a movie for, but we went directly home, and instead of watching Companion again, we recorded a hot take for you.
That's right,
because we'd already seen it. So. That's right. So that's what last week's episode was.
Well, we did see this trailer there. Actually, we got to see all the trailers that were going to be in front of Companion, like when it came out, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this was there. And it still looks like a really good movie. I feel like it didn't give too much away. Whoever this journalist was that included that in their fucking headline needs to be smacked, because one of my favorite things about this trailer is not knowing really what's going on. Like, obviously, their like juke joint is getting attacked, but like
they're alluding to several different things in this bigger trailer, and they are still keeping things kind of close to the vest. And I'm really, really interested in watching it, if nothing else, because it's super cinematic. Like I know I mentioned this a couple of Shooting the Flames ago, but it is shot in a super skinny aspect ratio to make it like really like CinemaScope.
Yep.
Old school, like John Ford. And it looks like it's supposed to be some sort of horror epic. And I'm all in.
Same. I love Michael B. Jordan, you know,
and Ryan Coogler knows how to fucking make a movie. So
it's true. And I like, because Creed is amazing. And
so was Wakanda.
I haven't seen those movies. I know.
They're both very good, actually.
I know. I feel that I would love
better than they deserve to be.
So I'm glad that he's getting around to making something that's like true horror. And like, this really is like a gothic year for horror. I mean, we've got staples like Frankenstein, but then we have something like this that can sort of fit into that.
Which I'm really can't wait to see, like the Luc Besson trailer for Dracula. And
for real.
Bride of Frankenstein trailer, and then Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. Mm-hmm. As long as it doesn't kill a cat or like make out with a fish, I'm happy.
There's no promises with that. But Sinners will be out April 18th, like we said. So we're definitely going to be checking that one out.
Next up, we've got an official teaser, not just like the 2-second clip, but like an official teaser for Alien Earth. And it's high production value. Like it's taking us through a ship with a face hugger, and it looks really, really good. And it's kind of going through the ship, and then it kind of ends at the window, and you can then see a zoom out of the ship itself, and it is crash landing on Earth.
That's right.
And so Alien Earth on Hulu and Disney Plus this summer. So don't miss the newest Disney princess with that xenomorph.
That's right. Right on Earth. I am looking forward to this, although trepidatious. I need to remember to keep my expectations low, especially when it comes to this franchise. But I mean, it looks good. I mean, this trailer looks straight up like a video game. You know? And
yeah, it did look a little like, I wonder if this is actually going to be in the series or if it's just like they're trying to just really encapsulate the premise in a kind of more of a visual, poetic way rather than show us what actually is happening in the show. But we don't know.
yeah, watch what happens. They go through like 7 episodes, and then in episode 8,
What they proved to me is that they're going for full on horror.
Yeah,
They're going for full on aliens. They're not shy about it. And they're putting a bunch of fucking money behind it. That's what it communicates to me. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen. But regardless, the marketing team knows what the fuck they're doing.
I think ever since Disney bought Fox, I think that they have been paying special attention to Alien, as a franchise, which is good.
They've been doing well with Fox stuff, with the Spider-Man stuff that they've done and Alien stuff. I just wish they knew what to do with Star Wars.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
Speaking of womp womp, listeners, we have somehow entered into a period of history, an era, if you will, where Dave Bautista gets top billing over Mila Jovovich.
Which I'm fine with because Dave Bautista is a great actor. And Mila Jovovich, you did not see the latest Hellboy.
No, I did not.
And it is worth seeing for the Guillermo del Toro plus 10 monsters that are specifically designed for killing. Plus, there's a good David Harbour comedy, and it looks great. But Mila Jovovich is an abortion of acting in that movie. I'm so sorry. I was a big fan of her after Fifth Element and Resident Evil. But, and her acting's kind of like here and there for the Resident Evil sequels and such. I liked her in the one where she was like talking at the camera about like owls that were aliens or whatever the fuck that was.
Oh, the fifth kind or something like that. Yeah.
But she was bad. And Bautista has proven in recent years that he is good. And that's probably why. Yeah.
He is a good actor, but hasn't she paid her dues? We haven't even talked about the movie yet. This is called In the Lost Lands.
Did they get equal billing or did he get really literally top billing?
Well, I mean, he got named first.
Oh, we'd have to look at the poster.
And I guess that's also alphabetical, but I don't think so. I think he just got billing over her, which is fine.
Well, they're a powerhouse together between their movies, right? So that brings we talk about the quadrant, the 4 quad or whatever the fuck it is in movie marketing, right? And it's just like people between like 25 and 35 and men and women and blah, 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 right? And this is going to have multi-generations with Mila Jovovich with horror and then action and drama with Dave Bautista and a little bit of overlap in genres between them, right? And so that's going to bring a lot of people. And then also this is like a story by George R.R. Martin and it's like directed by the Resident Evil director. And then it's also like produced by something, I don't know, like, and if the story is by, the original story is by Mad Max. So it's in the Mad Max world, I think. Or
really?
No. It's like adjacent to that. Anyway, they're mentioning the guy that created Mad Max, the biggest, amazing director in his own right?
Yeah.
And eclectic too. So
I still don't really know what it's about.
I'm a mess. I'm sorry. I don't know. It just looks, my eyes glazed over in this trailer. It's just like post-apocalyptic, supernatural, themed movie where the promised one and Mila Jovovich is trying to do XYZ and has to hire a Han Solo to do XYZ, and that's Dave Bautista. And then she is the promised one who gets to shoot fire out of her hands at zombies. Meanwhile, they're on trains and have shotguns. So it's like Victorian post-apocalyptic, but supernatural, but also futuristic at the same time.
So it's steampunk.
Yeah. I guess it is steampunk, huh?
Okay.
But it's not like overtly. I don't see a bunch of like goggles and top hats. You know what I mean?
Thank God. Although, just based on the trailer, I'm not super excited about it. But
no, it just looks so
formulaic.
I don't know. Like it's there's not a lot of movies like it, so I don't know why I have that. It's just like it's a lot at me. It's throwing a lot at me.
There's not a lot of movies like it, and yet I feel like I've seen movies exactly like it.
I think it's really for 12-year-old boys.
Yeah,
but is giving. Like it's going to be R-rated. I don't know. We'll just have to see what happens.
That's right. And winter is coming. And
sometimes bad trailers happen to good movies and vice versa. Or beige trailers happen to beige movies.
Only time will tell.
Don't judge a book by its highly specific and explanatory cover.
We have one more trailer to talk about.
Oh, and finally, as we get to the 1001st trailer, it is Until Dawn, which does not have a date. It says it's coming soon.
It's coming this year.
So that could be, I would guess springtime is usually, it's always sooner than you think when it says coming soon. But like usually people say like spring, summer, winter, but this says just coming soon. So could be anywhere this year. Or they could push it. We've seen that before too. Anyway, right. Until Dawn, based off of the PlayStation game.
That's right.
That you've played, but I haven't.
Yeah, I really wanted this game when it was released because it's kind of like a choose your own adventure kind of thing. Like you get to control the actions in what is essentially a horror movie, and you can play it multiple times and make different choices, and the outcome of the game will be different.
Is it kind of like the game, the multiplayer choose your own adventure game that we played on the New Year's that shall not be discussed?
Yes, it's kind of similar to that.
Okay.
Yeah. Same basic concept.
Okay.
Yes. I had to think about that New Year's Eve you were talking about. I was like, why should we mention that? But then that was like the New Year's Eve of Forbidding Doom.
Yeah, that was the 2020 years where you had the foreboding feeling. You're like, something's bad going to happen this year. And he's never had that before, and he's never had that since. So that should tell you something, listeners.
Do you know what? I learned something today. I'm sorry, this is a little off topic, but I was teaching some people about food allergies today and the symptoms of food allergies. And did you know that one of the symptoms
with the demonstration?
Yes. Did you know? I'm kind of itchy right now. Did you know that one of the symptoms for having an allergic reaction is a sense of something bad is going to happen? So a sense of impending doom. And I was just like, am I always having an allergic reaction? I was like, I'm having one right now.
What were the snacks that we had that night?
I don't know. So whatever it was, I was just allergic to it probably, but then it all came true.
What was this? Like cranberry juice and shellfish.
That's right. Eat this shrimp. Oh, something bad's going to happen. Anyway, Until Dawn does not look like the game. Okay. Like the game is much more of a straightforward kind of slasher thing.
Well, they can't have choose your own adventure in a movie, right? They have to have a pre-written adventure. And so this is like them reliving the same night over and over. So it's almost like they're choosing their adventure differently every night. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like we get to see Cabin in the Woods, but played out differently over different nights. And they all just kind of reset, but they remember that they died. And they remember how, right? And so each time they sign their name in the hotel book or whatever the fuck they are, and no one's made it past in the past, they look at the book who signed it and they never make it past 13 nights. So it's like, how can they get through to survive until dawn?
And every night seems to be a new kind of like monster or villain that's coming after them.
And it looks really cool. So in a way, this is connected anthology in a way. And I really am into that. And, I cannot discount video game movies. We liked, like we just mentioned, Resident Evil.
That's true.
They're not always bad. Werewolves Within. I didn't even know it was a video game movie until after we saw it. And that was amazing. It's my favorite werewolf movie because it has so little of a werewolf in it. And Werewolves by Night actually was also another werewolf movie. Like the werewolf is only in it for like 5 seconds.
There's a handful, but like,
the less a werewolf movie has a werewolf in it, the more I like it, apparently.
Well, good news. I don't think there's a werewolf at all in Until Dawn.
I'm probably going to love it.
I am looking forward to seeing this. When I knew that they were making a movie of it, I was just like, oh, if they're just going to take the basic story of the game and just film it without the fun choose your adventure parts, then that's not going to be good. But they seem to have done something very different and very cool and very inventive. And I am down for that.
Everyone scratch your left nut if you want him to go through the water.
Everyone stop.
Pull out your Scantrons.
Feed your Scantron into the seat in front of you. If you want to see him step on that rusty nail, press A.
Do people still use Scantrons, or did we just like date ourselves?
I don't know, because I think that like children today use like tablets in school.
Oh, like Abacus?
Yeah, we were using Abaci. Children today use like a fucking iPad to take the test on and shit.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Not even a chalkboard? Nary a chalkboard to be seen?
There are no chalkboards in school anymore. Only dry erase boards.
Oh my God.
Chalk.
Whiteboard?
Is extinct. We can't even like farm chalk from the ground anymore. It's gone. We used up all the chalk.
They're all replaced with dry erase fields.
That's right.
Every time I pass those, I have to like roll the window down and sniff.
Dry erase fields. What?
Well, guys, I think that about wraps up this episode of Shooting the Flames.
That's right. As always, we need some more comments and questions and everything. Look for us on social media at The Film Flamers, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Blue Sky, on Threads, on all the places.
You can email us at tiredqueens@filmflamers.com or call our hotline at
972-666-7733.
Oh, do you want to try my wet erase board?
Drop on my monkey center.
What?
Oh, you're so confused every time I say something sexy. This is why I don't speak during sex. Like, quiet.
Heard it here first, folks.
Like we said earlier, guys, we have a lot of David Lynch coming up for you for the rest of the month. And be sure to vote in this poll. Like this, if you're going to vote in one poll this year, this is the one to do it. So go over to patreon.com/thefilmflamers. Join the Patreon family like Nimbly Wimbly and vote in the David Lynch poll.
Actually, that's Nimble Wimbly.
Nimble, you're correct. That's right. Anyway, go do that. Go lick that poll, girl. Okay. Chris?
I'm thinking I need to go to sleep and have some
sweet dreams.
I got wet boards.
Wet erase board. You know, I have the clearest image in my head of a dry erase field, like a fucking vis-a-vis coming up. Whatever. Yeah.
You know, it's like those cat tail plants, but they're dry erase. Just waving in the breeze.
I need some art of this. Like that's my new thing. It's no longer Elvis holding a baby Jesus.
That's how I was saying. You roll down your window, every time you stick your head out, you get high.
I want to be a dry erase farmer.
Oh, stupid.
Oh.
So fucking stupid.